What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Trust the Process Live. We are live, even though you're seeing us through a computer screen. You're only seeing 3 out of the 4 of us this week, but the show must go on. Our guy James HARDEN is in the background, cranking the show gears. The show doesn't go on without him. But who you see on screen is the usual suspects. I am, ladies and gentlemen, James Jackson, joined by my 2 guys, Mr. 5 Digits himself, always, Maximilian. How you doing, Mr. Coolish?
What is going on, everybody? Happy snow weather this week.
Ooh, snow weather. I hate snow, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew that about me. It's very bah humbug of me, but I don't like snow. Josh Safran is the third panel, and he's got a smile on his face because it's the first Victory Monday you guys have had in, how long? In quite some time, huh?
Can't remember. Yeah, can hardly remember. And I said I was feeling vindicated.
The Cowboys game, right? The Ben DiNucci game?
The Ben DiNucci Dimes game. Yeah, what is it? That's 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. And I said I was vindicated last week because I saw one drive. Now this week, let me tell you, fellas, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, you're hyped up and ready to go. Let's give you something to praise about. Yeah, before we get started, want to let all our fans know, all our viewers know out there that if you do happen to miss a show, we are now available in podcast form and audio only form on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast, we're on there. Shout out to Anchor for helping us out and setting us up. So Trust the Process Live is also Trust the Process Replay, Trust the Process Recorded, whatever you want to call it. But it's time to let Safran flex his muscles for a little bit because he did all this time ago. And being honest, Jalen Hurts has started. It's by Jalen Hurts. We just watched a great performance by Jalen Hurts, and I really hate to give you all this much credit, but a great performance by the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday, beating the New Orleans Saints. It was led by the rookie quarterback getting his first. So, Max, do it so I don't have to. Answer me this. Did Jalen Hurts just blow the doors off this conversation, off this QB controversy, whatever it is? Is this his job now?
For this year, yeah. For this year, there's no way. There is no way you can try to justifiably convince anybody who's involved with the team on an inner or outer level that Carson Wentz can go back, behind center this season, barring something, knock on wood, happens to Jalen Hurts, right? Let me just say this, right? If you look at just the raw numbers in terms of total yards, Hurts finished around with what Carson usually does, somewhere in the 230 to 270 range, depending, right? No matter how bad his performance has been, the offense still ended up turning out the same number of total yards for a QB performance. But what you don't see in those numbers is that if you watch that game yesterday, the offense found rhythm, which it hasn't found all season. The offense did not have drive-killing plays like it has had all season. I saw something that I think is really just the simplest way to describe how just having sufficient quarterback play can help an offense. Under Carson Wentz, the average third down length of the Eagles was over 3.8, and they had more 3rd and 12 pluses than any other team in the NFL, right? That is just insurmountable to come back from. Even Rodgers and Mahomes and the best guys out there, they can't regularly convert third and double digits because those are just simply the hardest plays to convert, right? The defense knows what's coming. It's one lane of traffic, and you either get it or you don't, right? It's pretty straightforward. It happens on third and long usually. So I think just the simple fact that we had an offense that was in rhythm, that wasn't shooting itself in the foot, that it did have its typical shortcomings and flaws, but just the fact that it played much cleaner is the difference, being able to beat a team that's on a 9-game winning streak and tying at the Bengals, who are one of the worst teams in the league. And that's just one example I can pull out of my hat, right? I'm being nice enough to justify that Eagles performance. That was a tie. Do you want me to talk about any of those games that were losses, right? It could be what we saw the first 12 weeks, and it wasn't. And I think that is just really the best starting point for
this. I agree. I agree with pretty much 95% of what you just said. Safran, do you agree? Is it Hurts at least for the rest of the season? Are we not looking back? That's an easy question to throw at you.
I mean, yeah, of course. You know what I'm saying. It's Hurts for the rest of the season. It should have been Hurts much earlier. And it just blows my mind how Doug Peterson doesn't come right out and say, yeah, this is our guy for the rest of the year. Now, I
do think Adam Schefter reported earlier today that Jalen Hurts is going to start this Sunday against the Cardinals, like officially. Right. So I'm sure.
Yeah, I do want to say though, Doug initially did not commit to that. He initially did not commit to the starting quarterback. But then, I don't know, what changed in the couple of hours between, but it didn't make sense to not.
It's not a secret.
Exactly. Yeah. You're showing your hand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blown away. I am blown away by Jalen Hurts' performance yesterday. And you look at the numbers and you say, oh, that's not a crazy. I'm not calling him elite, okay? And then you look at the numbers and you could say, oh, Carson Wentz could put up those passing numbers. But it's twofold. First of all, I would like to focus on his first half passing numbers because his first half passing numbers were incredible. The team came out in the second half. There's no doubt Doug Peterson took his foot off the gas in the second half, and it made me extremely nervous. But the team, they calmed down, they settled down, and they got on the back of Josh Sweat. They got the momentum back, and they closed it out. And it was just, oh my gosh, what a complete I want to say complete game, but Doug did he did take his foot off the gas in the second half. But
the third quarter was
it was
shaky baby for sure.
But you know what? The first half was so good that it didn't even matter. And I think that's what it's all about. It's because that team looked like I talked earlier about this team's ceiling, and I call that their ceiling against the Giants on Thursday Night Football. And I think that's a fair assessment because we saw what happened after that. They couldn't match the ceiling against the Giants on Thursday Night Football. I saw an elevated ceiling yesterday that looked like a different team, that looked like a different offense. Oh, what do you know? It's Doug's fault all year. Oh, these receivers, they can't get open. These offensive linemen, they can't block. You put Jalen Hurts in, all of a sudden, those things go away. Receivers are getting open. 0 sacks yesterday. Everything seemed like it was going better. And of course, the running game. So I'm doing a little victory lap there because it really, really looked like everything that was wrong with this team was solved because they put in Jalen Hurts yesterday. I'm going to leave it as that because I know we're going to keep going. And I'm
going to have to take the wind out of both of your sails, which that's my job on this show, just to bring you guys back down to earth when I need to sometimes. And look, the first half did look good. The first half looked really good. You looked like you were playing a team who didn't have any game tape on Jalen Hurts. And for the first half, didn't know what was being thrown at them for a lot of that half. And I give credit to Jalen Hurts. I mean, it's not easy to come in as a rookie in this league and get a win against, a top tier team, maybe the best defense in the NFL coming in to that week. Completely understood. And he gets so much credit for doing so. But like you talked about, that third quarter looked shaky. So there was a point in that game where I was almost saying to myself, well, here go the same old Eagles. He jumped up and it got exciting. Everyone got riled up and excited because something new is on the field. And now here goes, the normal Eagles. You're up 17-0 against Washington in the beginning of the year too, and blew that lead, and almost blew that lead last night against the Saints. But what was different was that you guys were able to close it out. One, get another key stop, the sacks or the strip sack by Josh Sweat, and then go to put points on the board to widen the lead and put the Saints out of business. Corey Clement's ankle almost put the Saints right back in business, but you guys ultimately did close out the game, so I get that. But do you guys know who the Saints are playing next week? You know who they play?
Chiefs.
They play the Chiefs next week.
Perfect trap game.
And exactly. Thank you, Mr. Saffron, for taking the words right out of my mouth.
I live and breathe.
Oh yeah, I mean I had no idea. That's the definition of a trap.
They went into Philly, into a three-win Philadelphia team, starting their rookie quarterback when they know they got Patrick Mahomes the next week. I'm not about to kill myself for this team, knowing I got Patrick Mahomes the next week. They also were starting Taysom Hill, who I know it was his third game. He started before, but going into his first start, this is a man who completed 3 passes in his entire NFL career. He's still not a quarterback, and there's at some point where a gimmicky offense is going to come back down to earth. It's at some point where it's going to stop in the momentum. It looked like it was stopped in Philadelphia. So if you're talking about an elevated ceiling, you're talking about a lot of things that weren't there before. This Eagles team is no different from where they were a week ago. The outlook of the season should be no different. you're gonna throw yourselves back into possibly trying to win a division. You're gonna put that false illusion to yourself. No, that's what. So don't elevate the ceiling. Don't go and raise something that doesn't deserve to be raised.
If this was 2 weeks earlier, JJ, I would be sitting here saying NFC East division. But the bottom line is, it's too little, it's too late. I know, but I'm saying if this team was playing this way all season with Jalen Hurts at the helm, I think we wouldn't be. This conversation would just be completely different. That's what I was saying. I was saying that team I saw yesterday looked a better. I wouldn't say miles better. Maybe Miles Sanders looked better, but I wouldn't say the whole team looked miles better than they did all season. I'm saying this team the ceiling was raised. This was a better team than I saw all season. And if they had been playing like that all year, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about a 4-9-1 team or whatever the record is.
Now there's a whole game tape on Jalen Hurts, and I don't want to take any credit away from Jalen Hurts. I really don't. I don't want this to come off as the kid got lucky or anything. He went out there and played a very good game. And look, there were guys that were getting involved, and people forgot we're on the Eagles team. He went and got Alshon Jeffrey a touchdown.
or was it the other way around? Was it Alshon?
Whatever it was, and it's hard to ignore the coincidence that it was when Jalen Hurts got put in the game. The spark that was there when he got put in the game against the Packers, and now when he started, it does look like a re-energized Eagles team. I'll get it, and it's funny who also looks re-energized is Doug Peterson. He's talking about the difference of the game Doug Peterson calls when Carson Wentz is there, and the difference of a full, complete game that he called yesterday. People are calling that the best game he's had all season. We're not a coincidence how the Eagles have their best game all season when Doug Peterson has his best game all season. And to answer the original question, Carson Wentz is done. Carson Wentz is at least for the season, but Carson Wentz is done. I know you guys saw the picture that ended up on social media where Doug is looking and smirking at Carson. Doug, I've never seen anything like that before. Doug Pearson was looking at Carson Wentz, almost saying, yeah, you're not getting off the bench anytime soon. You better go and make yourself comfortable on the bench because you're not getting back out. I got my guy. He saw one drive, was like, I got my guy. This is what I've been waiting for all season. So Carson better get comfortable on that bench because the Jalen Hurts era is here at least for this season. At the very least for this season. Now, I do think the offseason is going to hold a lot of things where, maybe you have a situation where you do it out in camp. I do think there's a possibility for the Eagles trading Carson Wentz in the offseason. I do think there's somewhat of a market there, but we'll see. But for right now, from now until week 16, it's Jalen Hurts' team. Absolutely. Don't we have to say, did I crush your spirits too much?
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
No,
I'm just ready to go.
I wanted to bring about some in-house mutiny here because I would disagree with Josh's statement from way back that the offensive line and the receivers all played significantly better. I wouldn't really say that they did. I think they both played marginally better, but I don't think either one of those position groups. I think the offensive line had a lot of help from the fact that their quarterback did two things. He's able to move up in the pocket and either scramble or get rid of the ball more decisively. Zero sacks, which is the most important stat of the whole game yesterday. And he was doing one of those two things. He was climbing the pocket and he was making good decisions when he needed to, right? I think that the best example of the offensive line, maybe not, I don't say this is the offensive line's fault, but just the play that really sticks out to me most in terms of the eye test, the difference of quarterbacks is the touchdown throw to Alshon, right? There is untouched pressure coming in off the side of the read of the throw, right? And we have seen Wentz this year at this point consistently try to escape that pressure instead of just throwing it away, just chucking it out of the end zone uncatchably, or at least giving your guy a shot. That was a good throw and it was a good decision. And Wentz has just not been able to make those correct quick decisions this year. And I think that play is the best way to encapsulate it. And the thing is that play wouldn't have been any different with Wentz behind center. That's an overload blitz. There's more people rushing than you have protection. There's one way out of that, there's two ways out. You get rid of the ball one way or another, or you take a sack. And I'm pretty sure, based on what I've seen this year, Wentz is taking a sack there. Whether or not that's
and here's one of the biggest differences I noticed. I think you're right, Max. I think Wentz takes that sack because Wentz starts thinking, I don't want to throw an interception. I don't want to do something bad with the ball. So he holds on to it. And for the first time in a long time, I saw an Eagles quarterback play with his instincts, and his instincts were right. When his instincts told him to run, he listened to those instincts. It got him yards. He got a 100-yard rushing game. When his instincts told him that, hey, there's pressure coming off the left side, what do you do when you throw against pressure? You throw it right where it came from. If there's pressure coming off the left side, I know I got Alshon Jeffrey who's one-on-one, the best jump ball guy I got on my team. So I'm going to at least give my guy a chance. When Jalen Hurts started playing with instinct, Doug Peterson started calling with instinct. You talk about the rhythm, Josh. It was because Doug Peterson wasn't overthinking, wasn't overthinking because he has to overcompensate for the quarterback that he has in. I trust that my quarterback is going to execute the next play that I want to run. So it's going to come out quicker. It's going to come out on time and with rhythm, and he was able to do it. So that was the biggest difference is he finally played with instinct. But he had the fortunate advantage of playing a team that had no game tape on him. You have a handful of plays of game tape on Jalen Hurts, nothing from start to finish, and definitely not a play calling sheet of Doug Peterson of what he likes to do with Jalen Hurts yet. Jalen Hurts started off just handing the ball off in wildcat formations with Carson Wentz over there as a receiver. So there is no extended playbook. There's no extended scouting report on Jalen Hurts yet. Now there is. Now he's got a full game against the best defense. Now there is. So let's see if he can repeat it.
Max, I just wanted to say, by the way, what you took as me, sarcasm doesn't come across as well over StreamYard or Zoom. I was saying we're on the complete same page here. I was saying, this team wasn't acting any different on Sunday. The offensive line was playing the same. The receivers were playing the same. Oh, what a coincidence that all of a sudden now the receivers are getting open. No, it was Jalen Hurts who, and the biggest thing.
I just wanted to point that out because I think that was just an easy way to point out the most notable play in terms of how even someone is I'm not a hashtag break down the tape guy, right? I'm not sitting here crunching all 22 every week. I can see enough from that television angle to know what's going on that play. And I've watched enough Eagles games to know this year what would happen if the quarterback was different. That's all I wanted to get. That was just the easiest way to get there.
And the sacks was the biggest point too. I pointed out last week. You look at the numbers: 3 sacks for 4 yards versus 4 sacks for 27 yards. Every broadcast likes to talk about the rotating offensive lineman, make such a big deal, and look at him move. He just makes plays happen that Wentz could not make happen.
Fair. We'll move it from there. Because clearly Jalen Hurts is doing things, at least in this game and a quarter, that Carson Wentz has shown the ability to do this season. So Jalen Hurts have been taken more seriously as a QB1 to start the season, even if it's not from the Eagles. So Jalen Hurts have been thought of more than just a second-round pick. Josh, this goes to you first. Was he disrespected from day one?
I think 125% he was disrespected from day one. And the more I look at it, the more I read and the more I just think about it, I don't understand why he wasn't as highly touted. I mean, I do understand he was a running back quarterback. He didn't have the arm quite there yet, but it seemed as if time and time again, Jalen Hurts proved himself. Now, there were a few things I was thinking about going into this game on Sunday, and I was thinking, man, why weren't we taking Jalen Hurts more seriously from the beginning? This kid he goes to Alabama as a true freshman, the most renowned college football program there is right now. He goes to the national championship as an 18-year-old, marches down the field, scores the go-ahead touchdown, and walks off the field with the win. With the lead, excuse me. The only reason he didn't win is because Deshaun Watson hooked up with Hunter Renfrow, 2 NFL players, for a win. And then we know the rest of that story, all right? But I'm just saying, Jalen Hurts, he is the pedigree. He is the stardom. He has proven time and time again he has done it. Even when Tua came in, he transfers out, he goes to Oklahoma. He proves himself. He is such a fighter. He is such a winner. And I don't understand why he wasn't more highly touted coming into this year. I get it. He lost his job to Tua. But I still disagree with that decision. I think he should have been given a better chance. Because look at when you compare it. You have a guy who led Alabama to the national championship when he was 18 versus a guy who's playing in the FCS. Now, I get it. There's a lot of factors there. But I think break it down simply. I think he should have at least been given a better chance.
I mean, just to play devil's advocate, they did win the title at North Dakota State.
Sure, and that's very impressive accomplishment. But I think when you're comparing Alabama to North Dakota State, I mean, it just sounds ridiculous coming out of my seat. You're laughing. You're laughing, JJ. That's my exact point. Is like, how come we so quickly forgot that this guy went to Alabama as an 18-year-old and led them to a national championship? And yet here he is, and we just spit at the idea of him being put in for Wentz. I don't know why it took us this long.
Maximilian, should this have been a lot sooner? Should we have gone into camp saying thank you?
No. This is some insane 2020 revisionism, and I don't mean 2020 the year. I mean 2020 your vision score when you go to the eye doctor. It's right. Like I'm not ever gonna change my stance, regardless of how Jalen Hurts' career in Philadelphia pans out. That picking him in the second round of the 2020 draft, whatever draft year is considered, was objectively a stupid move after you had just inked the guy to be your franchise quarterback. You're giving him a ton of money and taking a quarterback there. Even if this does turn out to be some huge, enormous galaxy brain, insurance policy, we saw this come and move by the front office, which I will never, ever buy. I will never buy that. That's why they took him. And I will always stand by that was a terrible, terrible pick in terms of what the team
with the Jalen Reagor pick, right? That and the Jalen Reagor pick, terrible picks, right?
No, I will not go against the Jalen Reagor pick. I won't. I will stand strong on my stances on both of those things. I will. I will do it until the end of my days, whether that's, you ask me on what is this, StreamYard or Zoom or in person, or if we're at a bar, if you send me a damn postage mail letter, I will write back to you in pencil saying, yes, that pick was right, and no, this pick was wrong.
One day, Mr. Digits, one day I'll get you to admit that the Jalen Reagor pick was wrong. One day. Maybe when Justin Jefferson.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that I wish that we still took him over Justin Jefferson at this point, but I'm not going to say that the pick was wrong. They needed a dynamic playmaking wide receiver more than anything else, and just because they got the guy wrong, at least they didn't get the total need wrong.
Solace. That's the point you're at. Is solace. That's
the truth. But like I said, there's clearly a disconnect. The dude's one of the best receivers in the league. Yeah, of course we missed on him. What do you want me to say?
That over and over again, kinda. Like that doesn't.
Okay, I mean it's the truth. All I'm saying is this: at least the Eagles didn't say that they needed a speedy playmaker guy and then draft another J.J. Arcega-Whiteside type build with that pick. That's really what I'm getting at here. They draft.
I'm just going to speak for Max kind of as an Eagles fan. Eagles fans have been broken down so much by years and years of bad drafting that this one, comparatively to all the other draft picks, isn't that bad. So I'm kind of like, right, like I'm too used to getting J-Jaws and this 25-year-old fireman in the first round. Like the fact that we got a guy who can actually like get 50 yards. Look, he's no Justin Jefferson. I'm not going to say he's ever Justin Jefferson. I still think he's going to be better than what we've seen this year. Max, I hear you. I got to come to your defense here because JJ's laying it on thick. And I get what you're saying. Now, of course, I'm not going to sit here and say Jalen Reagor is anywhere near as good as Justin Jefferson or that was the right pick. I'm saying, look, it's not the worst pick, and there's no way there's no way Howie could have known. Well, I mean, he was really good. But there's no way Howie could have known Justin Jefferson was going to be this good. And I'll go take it further. This good, JJ, and I'll take it a step further.
He had a tremendous national championship performance like 2 months before the draft.
Dude, he was still considered the fourth best receiver.
He was a part of the best college football offense of all time. What do you mean? What do you mean?
If Justin Jefferson was wearing midnight green, if he was wearing midnight green, he would not be putting up those numbers that he is. And that's just plain and simple. I mean, not that Kirk Cousins is some genius. I just feel like this season is kind of a wash. It's kind of a broken season, and I don't think anyone's thriving for the Eagles. I don't think Justin Jefferson would be thriving either.
Make no mistake, if for some reason these two players were switch situations, I don't think Reagor would be putting up the same numbers as Justin Jefferson, but he would be doing a hell of a lot better than Philadelphia Eagles Jalen Reagor, because you know why? Because the Vikings have been able to kill teams with deep play action passes. I don't even know if the Eagles know what those combination of words mean together. Okay, if you put Rager's speed out there, he's going to get a couple of those same touchdowns that Justin Jefferson get. Is he going to be the same guy who has 1,100 yards after 13 games and has 8 touchdowns and however many catches? No. Is he going to be able to win some of those long deep ball shots off play action because they have one of the best running games in the league? Absolutely, yes. So I do think that, we're totally off topic here, but it's so unfair to compare the situations because the Eagles quarterback wants to throw it to 6, 7 different people every game, while the Vikings funnel all of their passes to Thielen and the receiver opposite of Adam Thielen, who now is Justin Jefferson. Doesn't really go too many other places. And that's it. We should move on because we're going to go down this road again, and it's going to take another 15 minutes.
That's fine. That's fine. I didn't get to put my take on that question of if we should have taken Jalen Hurts more seriously as a QB1. I mean, I got to agree with Max where I don't think so. And especially because the deal you inked to Wentz last offseason, and also you just ended last season with him routing off 5 good games, albeit against mediocre talent, but five good games to win your division and go to the playoffs. So after that, you're not thinking going into the offseason, hey, let's draft the quarterback in the second round to see who his replacement is going to be coming up. So I don't think that going in, it should have been, Jalen Hurts is going to be QB1. I agree with Max that it was a bad pick. It was overthinking in the second round, looking at Jalen Hurts and wanting to take him for I think Jalen Hurts was designed to be a good insurance policy. We know that Carson Wentz, 1, has a history of injuries, and 2, but it hasn't looked the same Carson Wentz, the same MVP Carson Wentz that we saw in 2017. And I'm tired of having Josh McCown as being his replacement. We don't have Nick Foles anymore. So we need an actually good insurance policy. You drafted a good
insurance policies are not a premium pick like a second round. If you're so worried about an insurance policy, you grab someone late, and if Carson Wentz goes down to the injury bug again, then you destroy the season, you ride out your injury, your rookie backup, and if he sucks, then guess what? You have a good pick and you can trade for a new QB.
We got to move on. Producer is in my ear. Producer James Harden is in my ear. We have to move on. Good discussion. He does say in all caps, you said Jalen Reagor was dynamic. He says, and I quote, dynamic in my best James Harden voice that I can. But we do have to move on and revisit one more lingering question that I guess now has a little bit of steam to it, has a little bit of juice to it. Now that Doug Peterson comes in and wins a game with Jalen Hurts' first game starting at quarterback. So is he still in the hot seat? Maximilian, 5 digits. Is Doug Peterson still in the hot seat now that he showed that he can call a much better game with Jalen Hurts? Or subsequent question, does this show that the offensive struggles were Carson Wentz's fault?
I'm going to say, like I said, I think that this offense has had a fair share of blame to go around, right? No one's really performing so high above the other where they deserve to be exempt from criticism. But I will reiterate that it's hard to not say there's a huge fault on the quarterback when he's statistically the worst this year. Like, I have tried my best to stick up for Wentz through and through since we drafted him and through all the Foles and the injury and all that stuff. Like I was the loudest guy in the room about the whole Wentz has been healthy the last 2 years. This whole he gets hurt all the time narrative needs to start slowing down, right? Now it's a matter of his brain gets hurt, right? It's not his actual body anymore. His brain's getting hurt, it seems. So I don't know. Wentz is done here. He has to be done here, right? Like, there's what else is left for him to do? Like, the only way that the whole Disney movie comes to life is if he just rediscovers his love for football this offseason and comes back and kills it, right? That's the only way that he has a future here. But realistically, I think that Doug sees the light. I just want to say this. I'm going to end on this. Realistically, I think that Doug's job is even more savable than it was, because this is very much starting to brew into a major "I told you so" moment from me, saying Jalen Hurts is the only way that man can save his job. And I think that he's I guess I was wrong in saying that I think Howie's gone, because a bunch of reports have come out saying, no, I don't think Howie's leaving, but I think it might be Doug. So who knows what I know? But I think at this point, Doug knows that Hurts is his best option. I think that if that team that showed up yesterday shows up for the next month, I think we're right back to the point of me arguing again that Doug Peterson takes garbage and turns it into gold at the end of the season and keeps teams from quitting on themselves when they're down red. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I know that you guys want to say your piece, so I'm going to leave it at that.
Here y'all go. I can't talk to y'all. Garbage and the gold. I do think Doug put a pin in the fire Doug Peterson agenda that's on Howie's bulletin board. Like I do think he prolonged it for a little bit because he at least showed that he can hit another gear now that he got quote unquote his guy. But Josh, is Doug still on the hot seat or is he safe for now?
Listen, I never wanted to put Doug on the hot seat, but I had to. I had to put the seat warmers on. I had to put the seat warmers on, but I wasn't ready to put it on full flame or anything like that. I personally am taking Doug Peterson off the hot seat. I never wanted to put him on the hot seat in the first place. Now, listen. I don't think he should
be. It don't take much, huh? It don't take much, huh?
I never wanted to put him on the hot seat in the first place. My biggest thing was he needs to forfeit the play calling duties. And he did. He called a pretty good game. I stand by it. I don't think he should be this team's play caller. I still think Doug Peterson is a very good head coach, and he should not be the one who has to answer for Carson Wentz's regression. Carson Wentz regressed from a top-tier quarterback or a supposed top-tier quarterback to literally the 32nd quarterback in the NFL. Doug was trying everything he could to come up with new schemes, giving him rookie quarterback schemes. Now what happens when you put in an actual rookie quarterback? He makes Carson look like he's learning how to play football. I just think you can't put it on Doug. And I'll say this also. If Howie Roseman keeps his job and Doug Peterson doesn't, there's going to be some rioting at Lincoln Financial Field, gentlemen. I cannot believe that.
I'm with you.
The hierarchy of firing goes Howie first. The hierarchy of firing definitely goes Howie first. Say what you want about Doug, but if we got to start firing people, Howie goes first.
And I don't think Howie listen. I don't think Howie should get any credit for the Jalen Hurts pick also. I mean, I think we should be able to talk about Jalen Hurts without talking about the draft. That's another thing that I wanted to mention because it's so easy to talk about Jalen Hurts and get fixated on how that was a bad pick. And I get it. It wasn't a good pick. It didn't make sense. But it's just I think we should talk about Jalen Hurts without that pick. And I also just think Howie should get no credit for that pick because he's an idiot. One pick on doing another signing doesn't
highlight the good, ignore the bad.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Flag goes fly. We got to move on. We'll see as this Jalen Hurts train continues. He goes up against the Arizona Cardinals defense, who has shown its teeth at times. Also goes up against Temple product Hassan Reddick, who came off of a monster game, against the Giants. So Cardinals, Eagles. Next Sunday, but we got to recap this Sunday as our favorite segment, our winners and losers of Week 14. So Maximilian 5 digits, real quick. Who's your winner of Week 14?
I mean, it's got to be my boys up in Western New York, Bills Mafia in the building. That is what we call a signature win, boys. The Bills are within sniffing distance of the AFC East title for the first time. A team that isn't the Patriots. It's going to win it since 2008, which is insane to think about. The Bills are so close to getting an official division title at this point. Really, really impressive win over Pittsburgh last night. The Bills defense, which is how everybody has thought of the Bills, like literally since their 4 Super Bowls in a row loss. Like the Bills in my lifetime have always been terrible offensively and pretty good on defense. And that defense is slowly coming into form. And I don't want to say anything crazy, but if there's one team that can score with the Kansas City Chiefs, that has the potential to score with the Kansas City Chiefs, it's the Bills. That's all. I'm not saying they'll win. I'm just saying if you're looking for a team in the AFC that you can guarantee to feel confident in terms of their offensive output, the Bills. Who besides the Chiefs in the AFC are you confident enough in offensively?
I can't obviously can't sit here and say the Steelers. Right, hands up. I can't sit here and say the Steelers is the team they just beat, but I guess it's nobody. Josh, who's your winner of Week 14?
Before I get to my winner, just another praise of the Buffalo Bills. Last time they won the division was 25 years ago. Josh Allen, 24 years old. So how about that one? Go Bills. But my winner of the week this week, it's not something I relish doing, but I'm going to give it to the Washington football team, and more specifically, my man Alexander Smith. Now, still don't know what his injury is. I hope it is okay considering his long history. But man, oh man, I'm not sitting here rooting for the Washington football team by any means, but it does bring a smile to my face when I see Alex Smith playing football, which none of us expected to really see going into this year, and just game managing, playing like Alex Smith always has.
Football. Yeah,
playing winning football. Like, he is doing nothing that'll blow you away. He's Alex Smith. And somehow after like 87 and a half surgeries or whatever it is, he still looks like the same guy, and it's getting enough for the win. And as a little, bonus, even after he got injured, Dwayne Haskins comes in and it looks like Dwayne Haskins. It still blows my mind how the football team was ready to give their keys to that quarterback. But if there's any doubt of him getting injured and Dwayne Haskins taking away Alex Smith's potential playoff game, nah, not there anymore. I'm just hoping he comes back healthy and gets a shot in the playoffs. Alex Smith, caps off to you.
Comeback player of the year and name the award.
Give me a hand with my winner. I just want to say, Chase Young, have a day. Welcome to the national spotlight. The PFF hit pieces are coming out. Where are you putting Chase Young in your top 5 young edge rushers? And that's when you know you've made it.
I saw Chase Young or Aaron Donald yesterday. I was like, oh, we're here. We're here. Gotta love it when you start seeing things.
Chase Young, Myles Garrett, or Joey Bosa. Pick one.
Yep. I love it. Gotta love it. My winner is actually one person in particular. It's Davante Adams yesterday, because I guess personally for me, he's my winner because in my mind he crossed the threshold. Now, for a lot of people, he was already regarded as the best receiver in the NFL. I held out that hope or that title for DeAndre Hopkins until yesterday. And look, DeAndre Hopkins still had a monster game. He had 9 for 139 or something like that, no touchdowns, but still had himself a monster game. But he doesn't do that every week. Davante Adams has done this every week he's been in the lineup. Literally every single week, Davante Adams does what he did yesterday. He's a monster, and I think he solidified best receiver in the NFL with his performance yesterday.
Yes, sir.
He did.
How does he always score the first touchdown too? I'm not like a big first touchdown better, but every single time I watch the Packers, he's getting their first touchdown with no fail. I don't get it.
He's starting.
They don't even run inside the red zone. They don't even try it. They have no reason.
Everyone's like, "Oh, I hate the goal line fade." Well, Aaron Rodgers doesn't, because Davante Adams catches that joint every single time. But he gives me a lot of prime Julio Jones vibes, where he's so good after the catch too. The long touchdown he had yesterday, he was just breaking tackles. It's amazing. So we'll flip the script though. Got to keep it moving to losers of week 14. Josh, I'm going back to you. Your loser of week 14.
Oh man. My loser week 14. I mean, we've been talking about it all day. It's not something I'm happy to do. It's Carson Wentz, gentlemen. It's Carson Wentz. He is the biggest loser of this week. Max, we've been talking about it.
Tell him grab a pine. Grab a pine
and grab a plane ticket to Indianapolis, my friend, because your time in Philadelphia is over. I believe it. I wouldn't be shocked if he was here next year, just because Howie Roseman might bungle the whole situation. But gentlemen, this week was it. This was the end of the Carson Wentz era. It was short-lived. I was all aboard for the 3 years that it was great. And the last
it doesn't seem like that. You seem like you're such a quick exiter of the Wentz wagon. I'm not sure if you had 1 foot off the whole time. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna call it this.
Listen, I'm gonna say, JJ, we've only known each other for this football season, and
I call it how I sees it. I calls it how I sees it.
I also calls it how I sees it. And all year I saw a bad, broken quarterback, and I was gonna let everyone hear it. So I call it how I see it. I'm not happy to do it because I really appreciate the 2017 year. I appreciate everything from Carson, but he's injured. He's broken. He'll never be the same. See you, Carson. Sorry, man. Loser of the week.
Hey, still has never actually won you guys a playoff game. Max, your loser of week 14.
So my loser is those big salty Saints, because they just cannot get over the fact that we won the Super Bowl in 2017. And at this point, it's almost comical. It is almost comical knowing that that for some reason beating the Eagles gives them validation of that 2017 season. The year after we won the Super Bowl, when Wentz played his last game of the year at the Superdome, they absolutely lacked us. That was the highlight of their season. Because guess what? Guess what happened in the playoffs that year? Stephon Diggs. Guess what happened in the playoffs last year? Basically the same thing, but just happened a round earlier. So guess what? The Saints have a lot of resentment in their heart for the Eagles getting a Super Bowl a couple years ago, because I quote, Alvin Kamara thinks that they would have beat the Eagles. If you're unfamiliar with this quote, Alvin Kamara literally said after the Eagles had won the Super Bowl during that offseason that he said, we would have beat them. Not even I think we would have beat them. Not even I think it would have been a good game. He looked in the camera deadpan and said, we would have beat them. Like, they didn't lose to the team that we beat by 30. We beat the Vikings 31. By 31 points, and that man has the unmitigated gall to say that he thinks that they won that game. Good luck. You know what? I hope that I hope that playoff exit haunts the Saints for the next 10 years until every single member of that team is off the team. Because you know what? I like the Saints. I like Drew Brees. I think Drew Brees is a good dude. He means well, regardless of his controversy this past offseason, has always been an upstanding member, helps the NFL community, huge ambassador for New Orleans, all the good things you want in a franchise player. Michael Thomas is the king of crybabies on Twitter, and Alvin Kamara is the lord of saltiness in real life. And you know what? I would love the Saints otherwise if it wasn't for those two. And at this point, you know what? I hope the Saints are perpetually stuck losing their first playoff game every year because it'll always be funny watching them lose. It'll always be funny to me.
Are you sure the Saints are the only ones who are holding a little bit of bad blood? You look like you just let out a lot there.
Yeah.
No, it's funny because I like to say this because their only victory is a meaningless regular season win, right? They even got their little playoff revenge over us, and then they got screwed by the refs, even though they should have won the game in the first half. Guess what? I hope Michael Thomas runs slants for the rest of his life and gets 115 catches every year with a 7.5 yards per catch average and all the runs after catch. And guess what? He will still never be a top 10 receiver.
Hey,
that's a personal belief.
You helped our cause. We moved into 2 games in the division with the Saints losing.
I told you earlier. I'm pulling for you guys. It's not going to be the Eagles. I've been branching out to other avenues pretty much since like week 7.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Speaking of hate towards the Vikings, that my loser isn't the Vikings in total. It's one particular person, as everybody knows. We had to dust off the Vikings yesterday and get them out of here. We Buccaneers beat the Vikings. But it may not have been so easy if Dan Bailey didn't miss 4 field goals yesterday. 4. That's 4 in one game. And look, as a Buccaneers fan, I am not adverse to kicker struggles. Hello, this is the team that traded up in the second round to draft Roberto Aguayo and didn't even make it to the end of that season.
Never gets old.
So like I guess this is a misery loves company kind of deal because I love when I see other teams struggle with care. I love it because it reminds me I'm not the only one going through it. Like, oh, other people are aboard this misery train too. And it's even better when it's against you. And sorry to our producer who's been in the background the entire time as we've been talking a lot about the Vikings this episode, weirdly. You know, in our background the entire time. Sorry to take another shot at you, but Dan Bailey's got to be the loser. We got to move on again before we get to the second half. We're just going to stop at halftime. Remind everybody again watching that we are now available in podcast form. Trust the Process Live. That's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much anywhere that you get your podcast going. Check us out if you guys happen to miss the live recording or the tapes. Even again on Facebook, you can take us in the car, in the gym, anywhere you go, and listen to the podcast as we talk Philly sports. Moving on to the second half, we got rapid fire, gentlemen. We haven't done rapid fire in a minute. We bring this back, and now as actually being the host, you know, we will keep this rapid. I will make sure that this is rapid because I feel like that's my personal campaign on Trust the Process Live, making sure rapid fire is indeed rapid. So first question of rapid fire is, we got Sixers basketball, NBA basketball, like in a week. But Sixers basketball tomorrow. Sixers open up their preseason at home. So we got to start talking about the Sixers, and we'll get it started right now. Really quick, 30 seconds. What are you looking for? 30 seconds to a minute. Josh Safran, what are you looking for this NBA season? What are you watching for the Sixers?
The Sixers, this NBA season, I'm looking to see if they look like all the 30 other NBA teams. Like, my recent history is just the Brett Brown offense, where I saw maybe 2 pick and rolls in the span of 8 years. Tomorrow specifically, I'm looking to see if it happens. Are we gonna see pick and rolls? Are we gonna see this offense look more like a normal NBA team? I'm just so excited. It feels like a breath of fresh air.
Fair, Maximilian. What are you looking for?
Lineups. Who's playing with who? That's what the preseason's for. That's really all you're going to get out of this preseason is figuring out who meshes with who. For Doc Rivers' shortcomings, it's always felt to me that he's good in terms of understanding players' personalities together and how guys interact with one another on and off the floor. So I think that'll be something that we should be keyed on. I wouldn't expect the Flyers and the Phillies. Holy God, I wouldn't expect the Sixers to be running the same types of the same lineup groups in all of their preseason games. I would imagine we're going to see a lot of mixing and matching and using that limited data to drive what we see in the regular season, at least early.
You actually just took my my sense out of my mouth. Took what I'm looking for right from my mind. Is I know Doc Rivers is one of the best, if not the best, players coach in the NBA. And you got two stars who people aren't really sold on their chemistry off the court, even their chemistry on the court. And I'm seeing if Doc Rivers can start to repair that. That's something that an early focal point of what I'm looking at for the Sixers, because we're going to get into it in the next question, but there's a market for both of those players. And Daryl Morey has already come in and said they're not going anywhere. We're keeping them. So in order to keep them, they got to start working in unison. They got to start working with a little bit more chemistry than we've seen them working if the Sixers really want to take that next step. So that's what I'm looking for. Speaking of one of those two, main pieces, that's Ben Simmons. And James Harden has been in the news a lot this past week. He mentioned that he has the Sixers as at the top of his trade destination if he were to get traded from the Rockets. That opened up talks with the Rockets and the Sixers, both of them non-budget. The Rockets saying we want Ben Simmons in a trade package to get James Harden. The Sixers saying we want James Harden, but Ben Simmons isn't going anywhere. So I'm going to ask you two straight up. If you guys were the GM, if you were Daryl Morey and Elton Brand in that front office and the Rockets were waving James Harden in front of your face, Max, are you trading Ben Simmons to do it? Straight up.
I was actually, you're saying straight up, it totally blows my cover because I was going to idea of just doing a 1-for-1 player swap, which I'm in for. If we don't need to the Sixers trading for James Harden is a risk, right? It's a risk in terms of on the court and long-term stuff. Ben Simmons, the long-term stuff is so not a worry about because we have a contract extension for him. We have his bird rights. We have all those things. Like he's not even like eligible to even think about leaving Philadelphia until he's like over 30 at this point, right? So there's a lot of kind of personal preference to this kind of thing. I think that if you really are swinging for the fences, Houston's losing leverage day by day. If you're the Sixers and you want to get this deal done and you're cool trading Ben Simmons, say we give you Ben Simmons for James Harden straight up. That's the best deal you're getting from us, and see what they do.
Put ball in their court, Josh. Ball's in your court now. Are you doing it? And to clarify the question, I wasn't saying straight up as in pick swap. I was just saying on your straight up answer. Would you trade Ben Simmons for James Harden?
I'm saying straight up player swap. That's the only way I'm interested.
Okay, so that does still answer the question. Would you put Ben Simmons in a trade package for James Harden? You're saying the only way you get him is straight up. You don't get picks with him. Josh, or is there a scenario where you're putting Ben Simmons on the trade block and sending him to Houston for James Harden?
Yeah. There's 100% chance that I'm going to do that deal. And it's the age old say, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. And James Harden is the bird in the hand. Like, this guy is. You never heard that before, JJ?
No, I've heard it before. Just wasn't expecting it now. But
exactly.
You hit it. Go.
All right. So I'll just clarify it a little bit because look, James Harden, in my opinion, is the best offensive player in the NBA. Maybe the best offensive NBA player of our generation. And I think if you can go and add that to your team and package it alongside Joel Embiid, I think you got to do it. I think you'd be foolish not to do it. And making that move would immediately rocket you into, who's the real favorite, the Nets or the Sixers? And I don't hear people talking about the Sixers in that conversation right now. If you can go out there and get the move to do that, I would do it. And now, look, I get why you wouldn't. Ben Simmons can be this. Ben Simmons could be this. But it's all a chance. Nothing is guaranteed. Ben Simmons could fall down the stairs tomorrow, blow his knee out, and never play again. But James Harden,
you can't ever think about stuff like that. You can't ever make a move based on that. You can trade for James Harden, then fall down the stairs as soon as he gets the ball off. It's the same logic.
But the logic I'm saying is that Ben Simmons, when you look like he is so great right now, but I'm looking at right now, James Harden, if you can get a player at that value, you have to go out and get there. And then we could say Sam Hinkie made a move that ended with James Harden coming to Philly. Now, all seriousness, though, I just think you'd be crazy not to do it. Ben Simmons, he's a very talented player. I just think there's just such an if with Ben. It's if he can add this, and I don't want to wait that much longer. And I don't think Joel Embiid is able to afford that.
I feel you on the if. I do feel you on the if factor. But it's trading for James Harden, it puts yourself in this specific scenario. You're sacrificing the future for the right now. The right now was a very big deal. Like getting James Harden absolutely widens the window of winning a championship. but it closes it. It drastically closes it. You're looking at a 24-year-old Ben Simmons versus a plus 30-year-old James Harden. I get it. James Harden is still back-to-back scoring champion of the NBA. He's one of the best players in the NBA right now. But you sacrifice the long-run future of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, but more specifically, Ben Simmons, for a chance to win the championship right now. Listen, so that's what you got to be. That's what you got to be okay with. And if I'm the Sixers, I'm looking at the build of this team. My two superstars, my two cornerstones, are both on the bottom side of 25, which means future is on our side. The going forward is on our side, and they're already all-stars. They're already all NBA players. So the future can only get better. So like I'm saying I wouldn't do it because I'm not sacrificing the future, 5 to 10 years of good play for a 2 to 3 year championship window right now. And if James Harden comes to the Sixers and doesn't like the Sixers, he's going to leave. He's going to try to force his way out. He's doing it right now. Listen, like you got guys who want to stay in Philly versus a guy who, when stuff gets hard, he's like, nah, I want out.
The last 7 years have all been about the future, and now the future is now. Get James Harden to Philly. It's go time. That's what I'm saying.
All right. It's also go time for a lot of new Sixers. We're going to move on to the last question, our rapid fire. Josh, a lot of new faces in Philadelphia this season. Who are you looking forward to the most? Who do you think is going to have the best season of the newcomers?
It's Seth Curry. I am so excited for Seth Curry. Seth Curry's been a guy who's been on my radar in the last 2 seasons. Just as that, like, there has been a trend upwards for Seth Curry, and I think it's just going to keep going. This is the guy the Sixers have been missing. They keep thinking they've had him. They thought, oh, maybe Marco Bellinelli will be that guy. Nah, did not like him. Mr. Confetti Boy, as I call him. Then JJ Redick, he did a pretty good job at filling that role. Of course, he was great with Joel. And you saw how much you missed having a guy like JJ, just a pure shooter who can fly around and pop. Now, I think Seth Curry, look, he is not a complete player, and I won't try to pretend like he is. But he's just one of those guys who is so good at doing that one thing, and the Sixers have been missing him. He is just a lights-out shooter. I'm so excited to see them come off the bench because they've been missing a guy where you need nothing's going right. Get this guy off the bench, have him make a few threes, and maybe the microwave will get going. That's what I think Seth Curry is going to be like for me, that change of pace, set the team on fire. I am so excited for Seth Curry.
As you should be. Maximilian, who are you excited to see?
So literally, if you asked me this question before yesterday, I probably would have said Seth Curry as well. But I got to say, there's a lot of coach speak coming out of Sixers camp about Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah,
it
was close.
He's been a lot of rave reviews early on, and he really looks like he might be that guy that ends up being the X factor, the piece that people outside of the Philadelphia area aren't going to see coming, and most people probably aren't going to expect him, even as Sixers fans, to come in and become a solid contributor. I think there's always room to expect that from blue blood programs like your Kentuckys and your Dukes and your Michigan States. Those guys are going into the most professional environments in college, and even if they're only there for a year, that kind of stuff can just be the smallest difference in terms of guys getting up to speed and getting in the swing of things earlier than their rookie counterparts. So I think for a team that kind of needs maybe more of a Swiss Army knife, we have a lot of guys who are good at doing one specific thing, like Seth Curry was shooting, or Ben Simmons in transition, or Joel Embiid in the post. Tyrese Maxey is kind of a Swiss Army knife. He's got, he's gonna bring the energy. He's a young guy trying to earn his stripes in the NBA, and I think the Sixers need both of those things. And I think that he could be something that the Sixers thought they had and ended up being much more than what they expected.
Yeah, we know one thing about those Kentucky boys. They come into the league ready to play. Calipari, if he can do one thing, he can make sure that his guys are going to be prepared to produce at the next level. So excited.
Devin Booker dropped 70 points as a 19-year-old or 20-year-old, whatever he did. He was ready for the NBA. All of Kentucky. I think if you're asking me what program I would like to pick from consistently the most, it's got to be Kentucky. I've always loved Cal.
He never bad
those Kentucky guys, they come into the league and they dominate. They're the quickest college to superstar transitions you can ask for.
The worst Kentucky product in the league right now is like Cauley Stein.
Yeah, I was gonna say especially guard.
Yeah, so they're just not a bad apple. I think both of you took the two obvious ones, the two ones that people should be looking to come in and produce right away of the newcomers, and the person who I'm looking at, if a little bit of controversy with this take, people might not agree with it. But think about the championship DNA that one Danny Green brings. Three. That's a championship with 3 different teams. Now I know he had his struggles at the end of the bubble and in the finals. Against the Heat, especially being a 3-point marksman. He was shooting 29% from 3 or something like that in the finals.
He was trash, and that's going to team a lot of people's impressions.
But I mean, you heard teammates like LeBron James say, like, if Danny Green's open, I'm kicking him the ball because we are confident in DG to be able to hit that shot when he's needed. So when you bring that kind of confidence, that kind of shooting, that kind of veteran presence, and it's different kind of veteran presence than Al Horford brought you. It's different, right? Because he's won a championship 3 different times with 3 different programs. So not only has he won a championship, but he knows how to go to a different team, acclimate, share his championship DNA, and then bring them to a championship or ride alongside with them to a championship as well. So I'm excited for Danny Green. I think that Danny Green is he's going to bring something that's a little bit intangible to the Sixers. It's a little intangible. It's not going to be completely measured by his 3-point success or how many minutes he plays, but it's going to be championship DNA for sure.
And he will be carrying on the Shaquille O'Neal teammate streak. What is it, 33 years that a teammate of Shaquille O'Neal's has won the finals? Danny Green, teammate of Shaquille O'Neal's. All right, let's keep it going.
I didn't even know that. That's a wild stat. I did not even know that.
It's a good stat. Attaboy, Josh.
The big Aristotle, attaboy. Yeah. All right, we're going to put the closing touches. We're putting the closing touches on this episode of Trust the Process Live. We are going to move in to tap outs. So, Josh, start us off. You got us a tap out?
Oh, yeah, I got a tap out. And this is something I wanted to get into the show today, but it is jam-packed. You got Jalen Hurts and the Sixers starting, so kind of got pushed under the rug here, but the Phillies hired Dave Dombrowski as their president of baseball operations. I don't know what happened to the word general manager, first of all. I don't know why everything's president of sport operations, but alas, Dave Dombrowski, president of baseball operations, he had a press conference where he said all the right things, and everyone on Twitter was acting like the Phillies made such a good hire by getting, Dombrowski, a guy who says the right things. I cannot stand the hire. Now, gentlemen, I had my eyes set very high on Theo Epstein. I had tunnel vision, complete tunnel vision. And maybe it was because the Sixers just got Morey. I had it in my head that we were going to get Epstein on the Phillies. And they just got the most safe, the most boring. He's like an establishment general manager. I don't even know what else to call him. He's such a member of the establishment. It is not a sexy move. And I can't stand it. It just seems like a safe, boring pick. I don't feel as if I can't find the right word. I don't think we went one way or another.
Move the needle.
They moved the needle.
Thank you. Yeah. That move did not move the needle at all. It maybe like that. And that was not what I was looking for. I had my heart set on Theo Epstein. I'm pretty upset about it. And I'm also upset with everyone who just believed everything he said and was hyping him up on the internet over the weekend. I was kind of lost in the sauce.
At this point, there's a lot better than Clentac. So maybe that. It's just not Clentac. It's not Middleton.
It's the same reason we feel okay with Jalen Reagor being selected there. Baby steps.
That was a tough pivot that you just made. Max, you guys to tap out?
Mine's just some more in general housekeeping stuff. 2020 has been a hell of a year for us, especially us at TTP. Basically, just having to pack up and go virtual all summer, and lack of sports for 3-4 months. There wasn't a whole lot to talk to you guys about. So I just want to say this: thanks to everybody for hanging out with us this year. Sorry it took us so long to go audio only. In case you forgot from the other 2 times we plugged it, we are now available audio only anywhere you listen to podcasts. Spotify, Apple are obviously the main 2. If you're using any of the other smaller third-party sites, we're on there as well. Trust the Process Live, just like you'd find us anywhere else. One other quick thing: 2021, we're going to be back out there on the streets. We're going to be back out, hopefully seeing people of all fandoms and in person. So I want to say this: if you or somebody on the show or whatever, if you just want to say, hey, how can we work together, even if it's a non-monetary thing? We're looking to help anybody out. We do business with anybody. Bars, hookah lounges, food, like sports is the great connector. So if you think that you or somebody can gain something from utilizing our services, you let us know. We'll help you out. We'll shout you out. Maybe we'll even get you a signed Jalen Hurts rookie autograph card by Josh Sapp and Jalen Hurts whisper himself.
There you go.
So
absolutely,
we got big things coming.
Great tap by Max. I mean, I hope I speak for Josh and James too. We echo the sentiment completely.
Yes, sir.
2020 made us go back to the drawing board a little bit and go back to the locker room. But when the second half starts in 2021, we getting out there and we're hitting the ground running for sure. So Trust the Process Live, we'll be back and at it as soon as possible, as soon as it is safe, by the way. My tap out is quick. I just want to send well wishes to Florida basketball player Keontae Johnson and his family. Keontae collapsed on the floor during the Florida State game and is in a medically induced coma right now. So prayers up to Keontae Johnson. The whole basketball world is praying for you, my man. You and your family, best well wishes, because that's just a terrible thing to see, and you never want to see it in the world of sports. So that's all I got. That's all the time that we have. Thank you for joining us again. Max plugged it. I'm gonna plug it one more time. Trust the Process is not just only on Facebook.com/MindFulPhilly, on YouTube.com/MindFulPhilly, on Twitter.com/@TrustTheProcessLive. We are also on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can't get rid of us. We're everywhere, man. That's because we're the best in the business when it comes to talk to live Philly sports content. So that's all that we have for Trust the Process Live, brought to you by My New Philly, where something is always new and everything's always Philly.
Everything's always Philly, especially Jalen Hurts' first career W.
Especially Jalen Hurts' first career W. My goodness.